A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I ask that you please subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, Manchester City have signed Jack Grealish. With regards to this signing, I'm very excited for Jack Grealish, of course, and Manchester City, because when you look at the type of player that Jack Grealish is, very expressive, very creative, and a quality footballer who is tactically versatile by virtue of the fact that he can play in so many positions from an offensive standpoint. And this is the type of player that would fit into the progressive positional play that Pep Guardiola likes to institute on the field of play. Also, when you look at the high rotation in and amongst the offensive players, I think he fits right into Pep Guardiola's system and way of doing things. And when we look at how Pep Guardiola has how he's broadened his style of play and the direction that he has started to take. You know, in the past season, we did see him leave Raheem Sterling out a lot more. And I just think that's because he's not a well-refined footballer when it comes to certain spaces and areas of the pitch, especially in the final third, in the half space, and in zone 14. So when you're looking at a player who ticks those boxes, you're looking at a Jack Grealish. So with regards to Jack Grealish, he considers himself to be an 8 or a 10, but his position, his most favorite position, is as an 8, which is quite interesting because we haven't seen him play as an 8 as much. We have seen him play as a 10 or start on the left side and then drift inside. Those are the two positions, where we've seen him really progress and thrive at Aston Villa. But now coming into this Manchester City side and what he brings from a tactical perspective and a positional one. So Jack Grealish is a player, like I'd mentioned, he did say that he sees himself as an 8. So let's say this is Jack Grealish. So seeing himself as an 8. So just to highlight with Manchester City, because they're very aggressive in opposition half, they do take up this somewhat of a 2-3-5 formation where you'll see the two fullbacks will be inverted. Let's say you have Kyle Walker that side, you'll have Zinchenko this side, and then you'll have Rodri in there, you'll have Diaz and Stones. So this is more or less the formation that they do take up, you know. And then when we have a look at the midfield, let's say you've got Kevin De Bruyne, and then you've got a Grealish just to start with, and then you've got Phil Foden, you've got Mahrez, and then let's say that's Jesus there. Just as an example, you know, fine. So in this formation, if Grealish says he prefers to play as an 8, he ticks that box really well, because we do know that an 8 for Manchester City occupies the half space a lot of the times, you know, so he would then be looking to take up that David Silva role that he excelled at. So in this position, I think he could do so much harm, because then alongside him, you would have a De Bruyne in midfield, and you'd have the duality and the rotational creativity by virtue of the fact that you would see them swap at times, you know, but we do know that De Bruyne likes operating in this right-sided half space where he's able to whip balls in from this area. But in that position, Jack Grealish could fit in there. But having a look at another position, which I think he will start at, or which he could bring so much value to Manchester City, is as the left winger, so that you can have Gundogan in there, and then De Bruyne, and then Rodri. So I think you do very well here, because at Aston Villa, this is the position that he excelled in, where he starts out wide and he beats players coming in. And when he does beat players coming in, he does find himself in the half space. He does find himself in zone 14. So with regards to playing here, I think he's got less defensive responsibilities. Not that I'm saying that he won't defend it at all, because we do know the work that goes into Manchester City, both offensively and defensively. But in here, he has carte blanche to roam in the space, and he can always come in and play make. And what then this does for Manchester City, if he does start out wide, it gives them the fortitude of having Gundogan in there. Now, I just want to touch on Gundogan a bit, and with regards to how much of a complete midfielder he is. In my opinion, he can play as a 6, he can play as an 8, and then he can also play as a false 9 or a 10. He is the complete midfielder. So I would want to start Grealish there and have Gundogan in that half space, because I think they'd complement each other so well. And whenever things get really, really tough, what you can do is always push Gundogan as a double pivot alongside Rodri. De Bruyne then comes in, and then you could have Jack Grealish coming in, if things get tough and they need an extra pivot. That's how versatile Gundogan is, and that's why I think Gundogan will start in the midfield to complement him. And what then this does for Manchester City is that it increases the ceiling from a creative perspective, because now you've got Grealish, one of the most creative players within the league, the most fouled player within the league, a player who can operate in tight spaces, and a player who I think is a lot more tactically versatile than a Raheem Sterling, and a player who, in my opinion, is a bit more refined than a Raheem Sterling, whose football intelligence could see him thrive in a Pep Guardiola team and in the Pep Guardiola system. So then, when you look at other players that could potentially benefit, I'm looking at a Mahrez, I'm looking at a Phil Foden, if they don't get Harry Kane, but I think there's a very good chance that Harry Kane will follow suit. So if they don't get a Harry Kane, when you do start maybe a Phil Foden as the false 9, what I think would really help him is that he would be a lot more focused on getting the goals, which could actually bring the best out of Foden, and which could actually see him being used a lot further up the pitch, because now he's got all these creative players which are picking up the ball from deep central areas, picking up the ball in the half spaces. He could then just focus on this side of the game. Mahrez as well, he could be a player that could look then to get in on goal, because you've got all these creative players. They can focus on the goal scoring. Yes, Mahrez will keep bringing the threat from this side, but all in all, the Jack Grealish signing for me is a great signing for Manchester City, especially considering the type of players that Manchester City have, and also from a defensive perspective. You're looking at Cancelo, you're looking at Zinchenko. Those are fullbacks, in my opinion, who would do so well with a Grealish, and Mendy down this side, because Mendy doesn't invert, but Mendy goes on the outside, so Grealish can always come in, Gundogan goes there. They keep the triangulation, they keep the positional play where there's lots of fluidity and rotation. So I think then he is quite the great signing for Manchester City. And if it's not Mendy, if you have a Cancelo's always underlapping, he always tucks in, Grealish keeps the width. If it's Zinchenko, Zinchenko also likes to invert, he keeps the width. So this is a great signing for Manchester City, and I'm looking forward to seeing how does he fit into the system. So, ladies and gentlemen at home, please do interact with Disky Talk with Luyolo. Do let me know, how do you feel about the Jack Grealish signing? Do you think that this is a great signing, he's going to do well at Manchester City? Or do you think he's going to struggle by virtue of the fact that A, Pep Guardiola likes to rotate players, B, there's just too much quality within the side? So thank you very much for tuning in into yet another special episode of Disky Talk with Luyolo. Signing out.